If Georgia doesn't win it this year, you can forget it. They are not going to win it for a long time. That's the quote from USA Today betting analyst Danny Sheridan, who is certainly very entertaining. Just got a chance to listen to him on the SEC network. Let me tell you a little bit further about what he had to say. He was talking specifically about getting to the college football playoff. And I mean, sometimes these hot takes, you really do wonder if this is just about entertainment completely or if this is what someone really believes. Or it could be a little bit of both. In this case, so when you see someone say, that it's going to be a very long time before they get back to the playoff, that's the part I kind of am like, are you, what? Is that a shot at Kirby? Is that what that is? Because if that's what that is, that's fine. I mean, I just would be a little bit more direct about what I was talking about. But again, the quote: "If Georgia doesn't win it this year, they can forget it. They are not going to win it. They are not going to win for a long time. And by win, I mean get to the college football playoff." I wonder if he was saying something that he meant, which was if they don't win the national championship this year, they won't go for a long time, and he wanted to back away from that, and he threw in the college football playoff thing. But that doesn't really make sense either, because one of those is easier to do than another, which is getting to the playoff. The other three teams he thought would get in there were Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State, which is sort of the default for everybody. Even though we'll just see how it progresses. I mean, one thing I think you're ignoring if you're Danny Sheridan. In the four teams that he picked, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia, Georgia would play half the field before the playoff. I mean, Alabama's not going to get in if they don't win their division. I mean, that's not going to happen again. I say it's not going to. Anything is possible, but that Alabama would lose to LSU, watch LSU play for it. I mean, that was a one-time thing. It really feels like a very odd situation, like a multi-loss LSU team, losing out of conference to I can't remember who they play. That scenario would be very odd. So I'm not sure that I don't know how much people read through the schedules and so forth. Danny Sheridan is a long timer. He's no dummy. He's been doing this for a long time. But I do wonder if people realize that Georgia's going to play Clemson to open the season, and they would almost certainly play Alabama. If Alabama's getting to the playoff, they would almost certainly get into the playoff. With the college football playoff, you do get this, and we're seeing this right now. I mean, did Clemson belong in the playoff? Did Notre Dame? Sometimes what you've done in more recent history is determinative of if you get into the field or not. I mean, Notre Dame should not have been in the field this past year. That's for sure. But, I think there was a pretty good case to be made that Oklahoma and Notre Dame should not have been in 2018. But, that's another discussion for another time. I mean, what do you think about if Georgia doesn't win it this year, you can forget it? Is he talking about Kirby there? Because, Georgia has recruited at a level that's top five, really top three these last few years. I mean, I look at the board over here to my left, and I see the talent that Kirby and them have amassed, and that sort of statement is what you'd say about Florida in 2020. Like, if they can't get in here, when are they going to get in? I failed to mention myself, Dean Legge from Dog Post, Making You a Smarter Georgia Fan. I've been covering the SEC in Georgia this is my 21st season doing so. So I've been around the block a little bit myself. But when you look at what Georgia's amassed, they've got 2 5-star quarterbacks on campus. They've got another one on the way. The offensive line is littered with top 100 players who are not just old but young as well. The defense is as good consistently as there's been in the country. So part of me wonders how much of this is entertainment. And there is reporting, and then there are people that are reporters or in media who talk on TV. And often that's just entertainment, and we have to keep that in mind. You watching this is entertainment. I'm not reporting anything to you, that you couldn't come up with yourself. Real reporting, real scoop, real insider stuff, That's all on dawgpost.com, dawgpost.com. You should go there and subscribe. But when someone makes a statement like that, it is interesting because I'm not sure what he's getting at there. They won't be in for a long time. I mean, who's going to beat them in the East? Florida? Like, Dan Mullen is going to, like, that's what we're talking about? Florida hasn't ever been to the college football playoff. That doesn't, stop them from getting into it, but this was their best chance to go in 2020, and they took a giant turd on their foot with the shoe thing and other stuff. But, these snap things, I'm not so certain of anything in college football. The sport has changed so much, and it is dwindling down to, like, I don't know if these are the four that I would pick, because I think Oklahoma is going to have so much momentum that even if they have a loss, that they will probably wiggle their way into the playoff. So I'm not sure if I agree with this or not. And I'm not saying Georgia's going to get in. I don't know. We're going to have to see in that first game against Clemson just what kind of team this Georgia team is. But they are a very good team. I mean, Danny Sheridan talked about how gifted they were, saying, I don't think they're as good as Alabama, but the most important position to me is quarterback. Right now, probably Georgia has the better quarterback. The potential between Bryce Young and JT Daniels, I don't know what the potential would be, but Georgia is loaded. I like Georgia. And, I mean, I don't know if he's got, I know he's a big Alabama kind of homer, and that's fine, but I don't know if he's got, like, a thing against Georgia. A lot of Alabama people seem to have, like, this concern, or, I don't know what it is, because they've had so much success with Georgia under Nick. I don't know why that is. I think that's a little bit the fan base, but this is a very good Georgia team. They are returning more than Alabama. They will not be ranked number one. That will either be Alabama, Clemson, probably Clemson. That will either be Alabama, Clemson, or Ohio State, possibly Oklahoma. But Georgia's going to go into this 2021 season with a lot on the line. I mean, I do think there's pressure for sure to get at minimum to the playoff. But all runs to the playoff are not created equally. This is not the 2020 ACC, pillow fight to get to the championship. It's a real fight in the SEC. And again, Georgia dealing with road contests against Auburn. You're going to play Alabama and Clemson along the way. You're certainly playing Auburn and Clemson, and I'm assuming Alabama will be in the SEC championship with Georgia. We'll see how that goes. Those are three, really big games, two of which will be matchups of top 5 teams. So, and Alabama will play Auburn too. They just won't play Clemson. They'll play LSU. Well, is LSU going to be, there's so much we don't know. It is eye-opening, eyebrow-raising to see someone say, if someone doesn't win, you can forget it. That's why I think he's calling. I think that's what's straight at Kirby. He's essentially, this is my interpretation, and it's up to interpretation. If you're not going to say it, we have to figure out what you're saying. I think he's talking about the coaching staff at Georgia. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's what it sounded like. But I'm not sure I'd trade this coaching staff for anybody but Alabama's in the country. I mean, with what Georgia's got to deal with every year, the SEC is not the Big Ten. The SEC is not the Big 12. The SEC is certainly not the ACC, and it's, not the Pac-12. And the path for all of these SEC schools to the playoff is not what Clemson is dealing with. It's not what Ohio State is dealing with. It's a different world, for sure. Go visit dawgpost.com, dawgpost.com. We've got a playlist above me to the right. But check out the site, dawgpost.com. We'll see you over there.